Ooh.
Look. Oh, and they're matching. This is, oh, goodness.
This is a nice-looking squad.
They've been waiting all year for this event.
They've been, yeah, just waiting.
This is oh, my goodness.
I really hope that they have pants of this nature as well.
I think they're onesies, right? They're onesies,
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, the American flag onesie. Oh, this is a favorite to win the tournament.
Oh, wow. All right, so Nate Red on Mono Red Prison. Turn 2 Goblin Rabble Master. You know, that's going to be pretty good against Death and Taxes.
It's not a bad one. It becomes a bad one if a Batter Skull comes online.
Sure.
But
swings in for 1.
It's a great thing to get ahead with, I'll tell you that much. Vial cranking up to 1. Leading on Wasteland is a little strange. You know, usually wants to have some kind of white source. Possible L6 hand's a little dumpy in that department, relying heavily on the Ether Vial.
Yeah, we'll see what Zach makes here. I mean, a Path to Exile or Swords to Plowshares would be pretty great. Just something to clean up Rabble Master. Mono Red does not typically have too many follow-up threats, but Zach can't do it. He wastes away the Ancient Tomb, then just says go. He's going to take a bunch of hits here if he doesn't have that Swords.
Yeah, wasting the Ancient Tomb slows down some of the hands from decks like this.
Makes a Goblin, swings on in. That is not a Goblin, but this... Nate wasting no time. We'll find one.
Elski not having that Swords to Plowshares, that's pretty big on this window, especially because it's the second turn. He was Wastelanding, not casting Stoneforge Mystic, which means it'll take even a little bit longer if you could ever get a Batter Skull online.
Now here's Trinosphere.
Ugh.
Okay. That Aether Vial is the only thing that's going to cast anything. So Zach no land says go. He's on down to 13 on the hit. Token and a swing again. Here is Sarah Avenger. Okay, that can trade with Goblin Rabble Master. But Zach will still take 3, go to 10.
They'll tread water. Though now, even if he's able to Vial in a Stoneforge Mystic, he needs to find another land to activate it.
3 mana. Make a land. 4 mana. Fiery Confluence. Ooh, destroy an artifact and deal damage.
All right.
Oh, this is so nice.
I would consider picking him up, seeing
as
Elski is not likely to commit any additional game actions, and we'll go to the sideboard.
4 upstairs, blow up your Aether Vial. Gosh, Mono Red's great.
Close game.
Nate Red, 1-0. Believe last... Yeah.
Fiery Confluence is pretty good against Death and Taxes. Especially when they stumble, but just in general, you know, destroying artifacts, pretty good in this matchup. Kills a lot of the creatures.
All right. Well, look at Zach's sideboard. He knows what he's up against.
Game took nearly 3 minutes. Yeah, for Elski, look at the sideboard here. 2 Containment Priests, 2 Cataclysm, 2 Council's Judgment, 2 Aethersworn Canonist, 2 Path to Exile, a Surgical Extraction, a Rest in Peace, a Menriki Gusari, a Gideon Ally Zendikar, and a Palace Jailer.
Hey, you're live to become the Monarch. That's square.
Palace Jailer is a really good card. It's fine in this matchup. And honestly, that's kind of the story of this entire sideboard. Elski is a player that we've seen play Mono Red Sneak Attack. If you're concerned that that's what's happening, you might reach for the Containment Priests. Though honestly, most of the sideboard is just stuff that's only okay. I'm not seeing anything that actively excites me. As we go over to Nathaniel Red's sideboard, we have 4 Fairy Macabre, 4 Scab Clan Berserker. I've lost to this card. 2 Abrade, 2 Kozilek's Return, 2 Sorcerer's Spyglass, and a Sudden Shock. So there's actually some cards that are really good.
Does Mono Red have the better sideboard here?
I think by a lot. Yeah, 2 Abrade, 2 Kozilek's Return, the Sudden Shock, this stuff all plays here. Kozilek's Return allows you to just beat Mother of Runes.
Yeah, it's colorless.
Right.
Okay.
Abrade turn, that's going to hit Batter Skull. It's going to hit Aether Vial if you're able to do that Trinosphere kind of business that we saw in Game 1. Yeah, all 5 of those cards are pretty excellent. And Sorcerer's Spyglass is pretty good in the matchup, too.
Yeah, I assume Nate's going to board out cards like Chalice of the Void and Blood Moon here.
Yeah, don't love Blood Moon here. Chalice, also a little mopey.
Yeah, so Nate Red, last year here for the Legacy Open in Worcester, made top 4. I remember we covered him in top 8 winning what I believe was the most lopsided match we covered all year. He had a top 8 match against Blue-Green Cloudpost.
Pretty close.
And he was on the play.
Yeah, you can have worse matchups than that.
He won 2-0.
Surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, the decks that rely heavily on lands that are trying to produce 12 mana, they're not very good against Blood Moon.
No. Right now, he's doing his thing. Ran Zach out of the room on that game.
Unfortunately, that was not a turn 3 win. Still be holding off for that bingo square.
It was close. What? Turn... No, it was turn 4. It was Nate's turn 4.
Yeah. Pretty close.
Pretty close. This is a deck that can do it for you. You can definitely get people scooping at that point.
Right.
Usually, actually, they tend to play out turn 4 or 5 before scooping.
It's usually the matchups where Blood Moon is just they're playing no basic lands.
It's like it's playing against lands. It's like turn 1 Blood Moon going. It's like scoop. Okay.
All right.
You got it.
Game 2.
Yeah.
Very clever.
I got it. All right. Over in Modern, the burning continues. Adam Goodwin up 1-0 on Kazu Negri.
Should have played more spell snares, Kazu.
We see this in team events, the teams that's playing all mountains. Rarely is it as polarized as this. Normally it'll be like 3 somewhat red decks, but this is just... I mean, I guess the burn player could be playing mono red Blood Moon. But that's about it. Grixis midrange on Ben Ragan's side continues to be the deck of choice for a lot of our top teams here.
Yeah, playing a build that's sort of the evolution of blue-black midrange. I loved my red-black matchup when I was playing blue-black midrange. I was less a fan of playing the mono-red version of the aggressive deck.
Okay.
That deck was much more capable of just running you over.
What I would wonder is how far he goes into red. The more Magma Spray style cards he starts playing, the more I think I'm okay with it. If it's just blue-black splashing Nicol Bolas, I can't see that helping your mono-red matchup.
Right. Yeah, I'm not seeing any main deck Magma Sprays here.
We saw Austin Collins with a pair of them in his Grixis deck, but none on Ben's side.
Right.
Anyway, we'll go back over. Zach, turn 1, Aether Vial. This time he's on the play with it. Nate just making a mountain. Thalia from Zach Elsick.
It's pretty reasonable. It does a good job of checking things like early ensnaring bridges and also stops Goblin Rabblemaster.
Well, Sorceress Spyglass through Thalia, turn 2 for Nathan. Zach will use Aether Vial to put Mother of Runes into play. And then he goes and lets the Spyglass resolve. And Spyglass is not going to do much here. We see Flicker Wisp, Council's Judgment, and Cavern of Souls.
It's pretty good against Aether Vial. I don't know if have you seen this interaction before?
Not against the hand he has.
Yeah, this hand is not heavy on creatures, but I mean, this game is going to go on for a while longer.
Okay. Pass over to Zach.
Council's Judgment can answer Spyglass. I don't know how much that's worth, though. You do want to watch out. We saw Goblin Rabblemaster.
Yeah, that Kozilek's Return you mentioned could be really big here.
Mm-hmm. You kind of want to sit on the Judgment to deal with something that actually closes the game, especially because Elsick does not have much of a clock.
Right.
He did pick up Stoneforge Mystic, which makes it way more inviting to just Judgment away.
Yeah, and he will go ahead and do that.
Because you get the immediate payoff with the Vial already on 2, that's a really strong argument for this.
And they had to back it up. He can't cast Council of Judgment because of his own Thalia.
Well, that's a problem.
So how about just casting Stoneforge Mystic then?
Yep, that's totally reasonable.
Well, leaving the Caracas up actually means even if there is a Kozilek's Return, he can actually save his Thalia.
Yes.
In a certain sense, I kind of like this line more. He'll go ahead and get Sword of Fire and Ice.
Yeah, getting that sword online will be a big deal. That ramps up the closing speed by a lot.
Right.
It's like one of the cards in Red's hand is a Chrome Mox. That card particularly bad against Thalia.
Yeah, Magus of the Moon in hand for Nate. That's not going to do much right now. Looks like he's going to make it so that he doesn't have to sacrifice his City of Traders.
Yeah, that being your second land can generate some pretty awkward scenarios.
There's Mags the Moon. Non-basics are mountains. So you can keep those City of Traders, or should we say mountains? Just make Chrome Mox. Taps for Thalia. Can imprint Simian Spirit Guide, I suppose.
Yeah, both of those cards, not very good. I like to go with the permanent mana source. Has things like Hazaret and Karn's High and Urza, Chandra, Torch of Defiance, Pian Kiran, Alar. As we saw in Game 1, Fiery Confluence. These are all things that make you want to have some extra mana. And the Chromox with the Spirit Guide under it, that matters a lot more. And casting the Spirit Guide is not going to matter in this game at all. You already know that Elski has a sort of Fire and Ice. You won't be able to block. Your attacks aren't going to amount to anything.
Last Game 1 finishes. It is a split. Ben Ragan on Grixis does take Game 1 over Avery Miller. Chandra on Nate's side. Torch of Defiance. He's playing the Chrome Mox so that he could build up toward this. Pluses. P and Kiran. Zach takes 2. But that Sword of Fire and Ice is at the ready. And it's going to be a tough one to answer. So go ahead and put it into play off Stoneforge Mystic.
One thing that's pretty nice about deploying the Chandra here is if Elski decides to equip the sword and attack Chandra, he won't get the sword trigger. It's only when you hit players.
Right. For that reason, I kind of expect Zach to still go upstairs with the hit. Maybe the shock can be thrown at Chandra.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Chandra really doesn't amount to much. It's really just trying to find extra cards. The -3 is not going to come into play here because of the Mother of Ruins.
Okay, so maybe Zach can just ignore the Chandra if he wanted.
It's certainly possible. Red is kind of tasked with producing Kozilek's Return and Fiery Confluence because he has to get the Sword of Fire and Ice off the battlefield.
Right. Yeah, he has 4 copies of Fiery Confluence, just the 2 Kozilek's Returns.
He does have those sideboard Braids, which give another draw to take care of the sword. Pretty light on Kozilek's Return, though, like you said.
Yeah. He also has 1 Sudden Shock. That's a way to deal with Mother of Runes.
Yeah, that's a fine one.
And Zach has called for the Oracle text on Fiery Confluence. Makes sense that he's correctly figuring out what the outs are.
Choose 3. You can choose the same mode more than once. Red, red 2, sorcery. Deal 1 damage to each creature. Deal 2 damage to each opponent. And destroy target artifact.
So if Nate draws this, it actually cleans almost the entire board just by itself. Can hit all the creatures and the artifact. The Mother Runes would save 1 thing.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it can't save the Sword of Fire and Ice, as it can only save creatures.
Thalia at Chandra, Stoneforge Mystic at Nate. Well, can't block Stoneforge. He could chump block for the Chandra if he'd like.
Woof.
Yeah, I'll just take it. Right. So Chandra goes to 3 with First Strike. Nate takes 3 off Stoneforge, goes to 13. 2 damage thrown at Magus of the Moon, and Zach draws. Sword of Fire and Ice, nice card. Draws Rashadan Port.
Plenty of mana online here. You saw Red utilize that Magus of the Moon to establish 2 City of Traders. So he'll actually be untapping with 7 mana.
So there's no real way to deny Fiery Confluence if Nate has it.
Right. Yeah, 3 red mana, 4 colorless. You can't tap him off any of that.
Nate does have Sudden Shock. Does not look like he has the Fiery Confluence.
Yeah, the Sudden Shock, it's a little bit late, and you need to combine it with something. You have to deal with a lot of things here.
Chandra plus shows a mountain. Zach takes 2.
And it won't take long to deal 13 with that Sword of Fire and Ice. Currently, the attack is for 5 plus 2 on the sword. That's just a 2-turn clock. You can Sudden Shock down the Thalia.
If you're drawing to Fiery Confluence, doesn't it make sense to just shock down the Mother Runes and just hope you hit that out?
Yep, that's also a line.
Chalice of the Void from Nate. It's been left in.
That's a bingo square.
Is player Chalice on 1?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure we'd see this post board.
Yeah, it doesn't do a ton, to be entirely honest. There are a fair number of things that he does need to board out. You know, those Blood Moons, I think, are a fair amount worse.
Back over to Zach. Council's Judgment. Let's go and take care of the Sorcerer's Spyglass. Okay, that leaves Flicker Wisp online now for Aether Vial. And 2 at Chandra, 3 at Nate, and the Sword of Fire and Ice is, I believe, going to finish off that Planeswalker.
Yeah, well, once you're dedicated to taking care of the Chandra, the 2 points upstairs matter less than the 2 points going that way.
Yeah, the Sudden Shock in Nate's hand can't play here. Thalia is going to keep that off. So, down 2. Nate's down to 10 on the hit. 2 damage to finish Chandra. Draws a card off the Sword of Fire and Ice. And Nate is playing off the top. He's got about 1 turn to do it.
And because he needs a combination of things, losing the Chandra, that extra card every turn, is a pretty big deal. Great Furnace to draw. Yeah. That's not worth anything.
Flicker Wisp in play for Zach should make him his next attack for exactly 10. And Nate will pick up the cards. We are going to go to game 3.
Kind of a runaway affair in both directions there, games 1 and 2.
Yeah, what was the difference in that one? So Nate didn't really have a threat early? Is that what we're looking at?
No, because Elsek, if he just had his swords in the first game, the issue was that Trinisphere kept him locked out, and then Red was able to destroy the Aether Vial. So Elsek was just able to commit more game actions.
Yeah. If Zach can actually cast all the cards in his hand or somehow get them into play, it's going to be a tougher one on Nate's side.
Once he starts hooking up Sword of Fire and Ice, he forces Red to have some very specific things. Yeah, some artifact destruction is almost necessary.
And that game is how I would expect the matchup to play out more often. Just Nate has some prison cards, but cards that don't really do enough in that line.
Right, yeah, I'm inclined to agree.
Now, Zach's going to have to win again because the Modern match has finished 2-0 in favor of Adam Goodwin, Burn defeating Jeskai Control. That's honestly around a bit of an upset.
Yeah, if I'm putting Lightning Helix in my deck, this is one of the matchups that I'm looking for.
Yeah. Now, Ben Ragan is up 1, so this might come down to Legacy.
This is certainly possible.
Yeah.
Grixis definitely gets more better post-sideboard than Mono Red does in that matchup.
So one thing we want to debut over here at Star City Games, we're going to take an opportunity. Aaron Barrich a month ago winning the Invitational. We can now show you the art for our next season's token. Of course he's got the hat. This is Aaron Barrich, the 1/1 Soldier token is what he chose. I specifically like how his shield's crest matches the hat.
Yeah, the use of color there is really cool. I don't think that hat will be very useful armor in combat, but you know, that's his style.
It could be a helm, it could be like
it could have mystical powers that grant the token no additional abilities.
Yeah, you can get this at all Opens and Classics, starting with the Dallas Open in mid-August. However, if you want to get it before that, they're going to ship at StarCityGames.com starting at the end of the month with all $5 orders. This will be given out for the rest of Season 2, well, from Dallas onward.
I love that fleur-de-lis on the chest there. A Louisiana player.
Yeah.
That's a nice touch.
Nice. You know, I had not made the connection until you mentioned it. That's excellent.
Yeah. I'm impressed that I knew that word. That's
that's
going to be a W for me. Good job, Ryan.
Look at that. That's it's like a French word even.
It is.
So 1/1 Soldier tokens. We're looking at Elspeth Sun's Champion, Memorial to Fall to white cards. Memorial to white cards.
Memorial to white.
Glory. Memorial to making soldiers.
I understand how you would forget that because white not really a glorious color.
Nate mulliganing to 6, keeping on 6 scries to the bottom. Zach on 7. Turn 1 Ancient Tomb Chalice on 1. Let's see if we can stop our opponent from playing committing any game action.
This is where Chalice is great. If we can turn off an Ether Vial, that's a huge win.
He's got turn 2 Karn.
Ooh.
I'm excited because I hear we got some nice Karn tokens.
Do we?
Oh, they're excellent.
How many French words does the art employ?
None. Oh no, Wasteland. Now we're not gonna see a turn 2 Karn. All right.
With Chalice on 1, Wasteland's about the most productive first turn that Zach can have.
Mountain from Nate. Plains from Zach.
Looks like Karn is on the line. There's Simian Spirit Guide here.
Oh, we're gonna make it anyway. All right, Simian Spirit Guide, City of Traders, Karn. Yeah, there we go. These ones are nice. Oh, wow, are they not?
Are you going to have to run over?
Wow. This is the rudest. Thalia in play for Zach.
Yeah, sometimes they get, misplaced. It's not a particularly important
Oh, this
token.
is, what is this?
Isn't that's the
construct token?
That's the token in your likeness, isn't it? It looks just like you.
Yeah, thanks. Hard pluses. Sorcerer Silence, of course. This robot's bad at math. It's just like I wouldn't want it on my team. Top 2 Sorcerer Spyglass and Mountain. The disappointment is so real right now.
It's counterbalanced by my pure joy.
How would you feel the day someone actually plays a treasure token on camera? We're just gonna get the stock ones with the treasure chest on it.
So the difference between you and I is that
you won't care.
The treasure token is for me. It's not for other people.
Well, that's why you picked treasure.
that's for me. Karn plussing this turn. We have Sorceress, Spyglass, and a Mountain. Given that Elsek has a Thalia, making it difficult to cast equipment, and there's a Chalice on 1, making it impossible to resolve an Ether Vial, the Spyglass doesn't amount to much. Mountain also pretty bad because there's already a City of Traders on the battlefield. So the question is, which one of these not good cards is worse?
Well, Nate will cast the Spyglass.
So we got...
So in Zach's side, we have 2 Brightlings. All right. A Mother of Runes, 2 Aether Vials, and a Sword of Fire and Dice.
Here I thought that Brightling was just a meme. I have seen this card's name dozens of times on Twitter.
Did you think Zach Elsek was just going to play a stock deck?
I've read this card's text box 0 times.
All right, well, we can fix that. Hold on.
Yeah, so we got Mother Runes that doesn't matter, those Ether Vials that don't matter, and that Brightling, and who knows what that card does.
And he names Brightling off Sorcerer Spyglass.
Yeah, so it doesn't do anything. Yes, we have an issue with the BattleBot set. So the Brightling, it's a white 1 for a 3/3 Shapeshifter. For 1 white mana, it gains Vigilance until end of turn, or Lifelink. Or for a white mana, you can return it to its owner's hand. And for a colorless mana, or rather a generic mana, it can get +1/-1 or -1/+1 until end of turn.
All right, so it's got the Morphling, all the Ling ability of the plussing +1/-1s.
After reading it, I'm left to wonder how we got 1, much less 2 copies into our Legacy deck. But, I have been told that everyone loves the Brightling.
No, I was going to say he's cut the Mirren Crusaders. No, he has 3 copies in his deck.
I see. You can't even Recruiter of the Guard for it.
You had to cut the Brahmas for it. That's not true. That's not.
I think he still has the Sanctum Prelate.
Just 1 Sarah Avenger.
Okay, that card's like pretty mopey. I'm not a big fan of Sarah Avenger.
Go back over to Nate. So he is. Looks like he went for another construct.
Yeah, with that Spyglass there, the constructs get a little bit bigger. I think. Thalia had connected on
actually,
the Karn.
so he's going to plus the Karn. 2 lands. He might actually need a land here. We'll see. Another City of Traders and a Great Furnace. So Zach will give him the second city.
It's a good improv group.
Second city?
Based out of Chicago. Many famous actors came up on the second city.
Why are they the second city? For what?
It's a great question. One that viewers can enjoy Googling.
Two colors off the first City of Traders. Chalice of the Void on 1 again?
Possible if he can cast for 0 using the Thalia.
Yeah, might as well pump those construct tokens. And then goes and makes another City of Traders.
Yeah, you don't turn off much. Actually, it's going to be cards in Nathaniel's deck. Chrome Mox and additional Chalice of the Voids on 0. Death and Tax is not playing too much of that, but at +1/+1 is the Construct.
So there's a bit of a read here, I think, that Zach could have. So if all Nate wanted to do was make Chalice on 0, he would have just cast Chalice on 0 and paid for it with his mountain, and he wouldn't have been to City of Traders.
Yeah.
So the only reason to do this would be if he really has a red instant in his hand.
Right. And you see Sudden Shock there at the front of the hand.
We'll see if Zach picks up on it. It's a little subtle.
Yeah.
And I like this. Right now, the construct is a 4/4, which means if Brightling attacks and Zach tries to make it into a 4/2, then Sudden Shock's fine.
Right. And because it's a 4/4, you can't just, -1/+1 and become a 2/4. You have to become a 4/2 to try to offer a trade.
All right, and Spyglass is on Brightling. It can't move anyway. But here's Sword of Fire and Ice. That will make a difference.
Yeah, you don't have any good attacks until you get this sword online, but because it's the construct, the sword doesn't really help the matter.
Right, and Sudden Shock takes care of Thalia as we go back over to Nate. We'll see what he chooses to do with Karn. I'm pretty interested in that. At this point, another construct is pretty big.
Yeah, I think I like reaching for the construct.
He's drawn Hazaret. Still is a mana short for that.
Yeah, because of that play where he spent the City of Traders, won't have access to that here.
Another construct. Both 5/5s now. Goblin Rabble Master.
Time to throw some tokens into the void.
Throw them into the Brightling grinder. But a construct will come along. That's 5 damage. Goblin gets blocked, but Zach goes to 15.
And these constructs, they'll close the game in pretty short order.
Absolutely.
Currently, the equipped Brightling can just trade outright. That's not much of a good exchange.
No, and that's not even going to last, right? These constructs don't stop growing.
Right, another artifact. Even something as simple as the Karn minusing to grab the Great Furnace that is a silver counter currently would make them 6/6s. Kind of a big cost, but if it came to it, that is an option available.
We have a life total correction we're going to make here. Zach Elsick actually at 12. Looks like we had a hit from a construct earlier in the game that we didn't record.
Sure.
Life totals 18 and 12, though, are correct now.
During the time that we will look back at as the Brightling fiasco. few things were lost in the shuffle.
Couple of Aether Vials in Zach's hand. Those were kept off all game from that Chalice of the Void on 1.
Mana a little bit tight here, and we did see that Elsick's hand is pretty flush with spells that won't resolve through Chalice of the Void.
Yeah, a lot of his things have been managed by this prison deck, right? So we have Chalice on 1, we have Brightling, Spyglass. So he actually trades the Brightling away, and then casts Mother of Runes. Using Cavern of Souls, he can make it through the Chalice.
Mm-hmm. Though the Rabble Master is a much bigger problem now that the Brightling is gone. Though
yeah.
The constructs were already a huge issue there anyway.
And that land drawn from Nate now means Hazaret is potentially online.
Ooh, and it's a great furnace, so it pumps
it's
the
an
constructs.
artifact.
It's pretty good stuff. Notably, if he uses a land drop to cast that Hazaret, he'll need to find another land to start activating Hazaret, though that's not that huge of a concern. He's just so far ahead in terms of damage output on the battlefield.
Yeah.
Karn's going to go up, Fiery Confluence, and I believe a Braid is the second card.
It's hard if you're in Zach's spot to give him either of these cards. I mean, I can't imagine you can give him Fiery Confluence right now, right? I mean, if
it's worth half your life total.
Oh, he does. He's hoping
it's uncastable.
Yeah, he's hoping he doesn't have a land, but that's not the case. And now that he's given Nate that with the land, that just feels like a no-brainer here.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the second red. Zach was hoping this wasn't the case. Destroy an artifact.
Now, 1 damage to all creatures, 4 damage upstairs, right? Then you have the Rebel Master.
Oh, it's just lethal.
Yep.
And it is, and that's going to be the match from Nate Red and Zach Elski, and that means it's the entire match as Adam Goodwin won as well. 2-1. Nate is your winner. And yeah, so Zach gives him the Confluence. I actually think I like that play. It's kind of saying, something has to